Pakistan is a rogue state, and there is no doubt about that. The country is infamous for its callous government and army. But guess to what extent can this country go in its callousness? Pakistan has charged a 7-year-old child with terrorism. Yes, you heard that right. A 7-year-old. For what? For simply sharing a video on TikTok. Hello and welcome to Connecting the Dots. I'm Unman Paracharya. Let's raise the curtain on the mega circus of the Pakistani government. The case happened in Balochistan, a province in southwestern Pakistan. Pakistan's counter-terrorism department accused the boy of provoking violence. And why? Because he shared a TikTok video that featured a speech by a Baloch human rights activist, Gulzar Dost. The child was taken to an anti-terrorism court. The incident has been widely condemned. The Human Rights Commission of Pakistan, or HRCP, called it a serious abuse of power. They said it's a grave violation of human rights and a clear misuse of anti-terror laws. And honestly, they are right. The charges highlight the suppression of dissent and misuse of counter-terrorism laws in Balochistan. This shows how Pakistan is targeting minors and activists in the region. What is even more concerning and a blot on the Pakistani authorities is that they dragged a child into their dirty game. This leads us to ask the Pakistan government, how can a child of only 7 years become a terrorist? How can a child know about politics or anything that Pakistani authorities don't like? He only uses TikTok to watch and share videos, which is very common on social media. Everybody does that. The child may have shared a video. He probably did not even know what the video was about. And for this, you call a 7-year-old child a terrorist. These things can only happen in Pakistan. This situation says a lot about Pakistan's priorities. While groups like the Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed operate freely in the country, a child gets punished for posting a video. If Pakistan is really serious about fighting terrorism, why not start with actual terrorist organizations? Why go after children? What's happening in Balochistan is not new. For years, the region has faced serious human rights violations. People are regularly detained, abducted, and sometimes they just disappear without a trace. Activists, students, teachers, and ordinary citizens have all been targeted. Many families have been searching for the missing loved ones for years, without answers, without justice. Now let's talk about Gulzar Dost, the activist whose video the boy shared. He is well known in Balochistan for speaking out against human rights abuses. He documents cases of enforced disappearances and tries to bring global attention to what's happening in the region. And because of that, he has been targeted too. In July 2024, he was put under house arrest to stop him from attending the Baloch National Gathering. In July 2025, he was detained again, this time by the counter-terrorism department. They accused him of giving provocative speeches. But many believe these charges are fake, just a way to silence him. So why is there so much tension between the Baloch people and the Pakistani government? Let's backtrack a bit. Balochistan is Pakistan's largest province. It's rich in natural resources, gas, coal, minerals. But despite all this, it is the poorest and least developed part of the country. Despite the wealth coming from Balochistan, its people don't benefit. Instead, they live without basic needs like clean water, electricity, schools, and health care. Many believe their resources are being taken and used to develop other provinces, especially Punjab, while Balochistan is left behind. And it's not just economic, there is also political marginalization. The Baloch feel ignored by the Pakistani government. They are underrepresented in national politics and major decisions. Instead of dialogue, the government responds with military operations. Security forces are all over Balochistan and many locals see them as a threat and not protection. These operations have led to violence, displacement, and even more human rights abuses. Then there is CPEC, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. This massive project is supposed to boost trade and development. But for many Baloch people, it's just another way for outsiders to take their land and resources. They worry that it will lead to a demographic shift, pushing them further to the margins. This is why Baloch groups like the Baloch Liberation Army demand independence. At the very least, they want an end to enforced disappearances and state-sponsored violence. They're also calling for the release of political prisoners and for justice for families still searching for their missing loved ones. So here is the big picture. Instead of sending children to school and providing them a healthy childhood, Pakistan is conspiring to send its children to jail. What more can you expect from a failed state? Streets burning. Police firing tear gas. A police vehicle burnt down. This is former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's hometown, Gopalganj, in Bangladesh. Awami League supporters can be seen here clashing with the police. At least 3 people were killed in those clashes last month. So what triggered the clashes? They broke out after Hasina's supporters tried to foil a rally by the National Citizens Party or NCP, made up of many students who had led the student uprising last year. Muhammad Yunus, the interim leader of Bangladesh, sided with the NCP. No surprises there. He called the attempt to foil the NCP rally a shameful violation of their fundamental rights. He promised the heinous act will not go unpunished. The NCP was marking the first anniversary of the uprising by carrying out a July March program across Bangladesh. Gopalganj is a stronghold of the Awami League. Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, the founding president of Bangladesh, hailed from this district. Sheikh Hasina contested elections from this seat, and so the NCP faced fierce resistance from Hasina's supporters here. This is not an isolated instance. Political divisions are deepening in Bangladesh, where there is no end to confrontational politics. Now see this. A mega rally by Bangladesh's largest Islamist party, Jamaat-e-Islami, in Dhaka. Their supporters are demanding an overhaul of the electoral system as the country gears up for general elections next year.
We demand the reform in the country and the justice for the massacre that happened during the uprising. We also demand the election in proportional representation system so that the people of the country can cast their votes in a peaceful environment.
The irony is that it is the same Jamaat-e-Islami that supported Islamabad during Bangladesh's 1971 War of Independence from Pakistan and was strongly against the creation of an independent Bangladesh. Its senior leaders were sentenced to death by Bangladesh's War Crimes Tribunal for their roles in the war. So the outfit that consistently opposed Bangladesh's independence collaborated with the Pakistan army and committed grave atrocities like mass killings of civilians, rape, abduction, torture, and religious persecution, is now demanding justice and electoral reforms for peaceful voting. All that brings us to ask, how has the interim government led by Muhammad Yunus done in transitioning to democratic elections, in preserving law and order, in providing a level playing field to all political parties, and hearing out the common man? Let's connect the dots. August 5 marks 1 year since the ouster of Sheikh Hasina's government in Bangladesh. On this day, the Yunus government has unveiled a July declaration. The Yunus government wants to give constitutional recognition to the student-led uprising that took place last year in July-August, which led to the ouster of Sheikh Hasina. This recognition is known as the July Declaration. This has started a debate among political parties not only over its content but also over whether it should be granted constitutional status. Former Prime Minister Khaleda Zia's BNP says there is no scope to bring any change in the political process outside Parliament. Originally, the declaration was the idea of Students Against Discrimination or SAD that led last year's violent campaign that eventually toppled the Awami League regime. So the Yunus government, instead of distancing itself from the exercise, dived headlong into it and decided to prepare the proclamation, raising questions about its neutrality heading into the election process. What's more, the Yunus government's track record is anything but democratic. It has banned the Awami League. In May 2025, the Yunus administration imposed a ban on all activities of the Awami League, Bangladesh's oldest and most electorally dominant party. The ban targeted not just top leaders, but all party activities. Its offices were closed, events were cancelled, and millions of ordinary supporters were stripped of political representation. The Yunus government has also been targeting opponents with criminal cases. Human rights watchdogs report that within the first 100 days of the Yunus administration, over 272,000 people, primarily political opponents, were implicated in nearly 1,600 criminal cases, many reportedly fabricated. Dhaka-based International Crimes Tribunal has started a trial against Sheikh Hasina and her two aides over crimes against humanity related to the July uprising. Sheikh Hasina is in exile in India since she had to flee Bangladesh under duress on 5th August last year.
So if the nasty politics continues, I see no chance of consensus. I see back to confrontational politics. That's the most pessimist scenario. Hopefully, at one end, the most optimistic scenario, on the other hand, the most pessimistic scenario. If you want me to bet, I'm unfortunately, I will say that right now, today, considering everything, things look a lot pessimistic.
Despite claims to protect human rights, the Yunus government is accused of ignoring or failing to investigate abuses such as attacks on minorities and their places of worship.
We have seen that the government in many cases hesitated when it requires to be coercive, when it is to be, because it is supposed to have a monopoly of coercion. So in terms of people getting together, what we are calling as mob, when they're attacking the religious places, when they're demanding something in an illegal way, the government has not necessarily succeeded in responding to that in an effective and efficient way.
Legal experts even point to how the interim government operates outside the existing legal framework of Bangladesh. That's because the caretaker government model it claims legitimacy from was invalidated by court rulings in 2011 and later amendments. Without new legal authorization, Yunus administration's constitutional legality is in serious question. The Yunus government is also accused of favoring certain Islamist groups like the Jamaat-e-Islami and giving special privileges to entities that are linked to Yunus or his Grameen network. Besides being accused of deliberately delaying elections and being biased towards political groups like the student-led National Citizen Party, critics like the opposition Bangladesh Nationalist Party or BNP and Sheikh Hasina allege that the Yunus administration is clinging to power with support from Islamist groups like Jamaat-e-Islami and acting beyond its mandate by making long-term policy decisions without a popular mandate. And what does the common man think about the Yunus administration? Public frustration is growing against the state of affairs in Bangladesh. Many factories are closing down, unemployment is rising, and the law and order situation is a matter of serious concern. Public confidence has collapsed in legal institutions and people are taking law in their hands. That's why mob lynchings are rising. In a Facebook post, Bangladeshi actor Shabnam Faria writes in Bengali, "As a nation, we are totally shameless and morally corrupt." These words echo the sentiments of many Bangladeshis disappointed with the state of affairs in their country. Widespread human rights violations are being reported in Bangladesh. They include extrajudicial killings, abuse of women and children, and attempts to suppress free speech. The poor law and order situation has adversely affected business, daily life, and the economy.
The government has not necessarily tried to interact with the citizens. It's mostly about experts. It's mostly about the elites. So who has actually running the whole process? The citizens' engagement within the whole process is extremely limited.
So the Yunus government's actions are totally inconsistent with standard democratic norms. The question is, can such a government be trusted to lead the country into an electoral exercise where each side deserves a level playing field? We leave you with that food for thought. That's all in this edition of Connecting the Dots. We'll see you in the next episode with more raging issues. Until then, it's a goodbye from all of us in the Delhi newsroom. This is Munmun Bhattacharya signing off. Take care and stay safe.